Hey there everyone, this is Michael Dougal. I review cognitive supplements, and in this video I'm going to go over 3 effective stacks that you'll actually notice working, because there's a lot of supplements which have a whole lot of promise behind them but don't actually give results that you're expecting. And I've used these stacks on and off for many years, and I feel they're fairly safe if you actually know how to take them as far as the amount and when to take them during the day. And so there's 3 specific stacks we're going to go over. The first being around focus, energy, and motivation. The second stack being around handling stress and having a better capacity to tolerate more stress, and the third stack being for increasing testosterone in a natural fashion. And the very first stack I feel is somewhat underrated. It's going to be caffeine along with l-tyrosine. So caffeine, as we know, is going to help us with energy production, with motivation, with alertness, though caffeine of course has some side effects that are associated with it. Now, pairing this along with l-tyrosine almost makes it seem like the caffeine is working more effectively than typically, as far as having a lot more energy, having focus, being able to actually avoid distractions. So most people are pretty familiar with the combination of caffeine and L-theanine, which I've talked about more in this video over here. Although that combination is more designed around calmness, feeling like productive at the same time, not distracted by the overstimulation that you would typically get with caffeine. Whereas this specific stack, caffeine and L-tyrosine, it just takes it to a whole nother level and you get even more energy. Now, this may not be the best stack for individuals that get anxiety pretty easily, because with l-tyrosine, one of the side effects is it does increase levels of anxiety. But I just find that I'm so motivated that I don't really have time to think about whatever anxiety or whatever I'm going through. And so this stack has really helped me, not only using it around work, but also pre-workout. It makes for a great stack, and that's why you're most likely going to see this combination in different pre-workout products out there, caffeine and l-tyrosine. But around productivity, the way you would consume this stack is by taking 100 milligrams of caffeine along with 500 milligrams of l-tyrosine. If you don't notice l-tyrosine working too effectively, you can consider increasing it to 750 milligrams, and you should expect to feel very alert, very motivated, and driven to accomplish whatever task you have to do for 2 to 3 hours following ingestion. Now, if you've never used l-tyrosine in the past, then I would encourage you to try l-tyrosine first. Make sure that you respond to it okay. It should itself help you with your energy levels, help you to fight off stress to some extent. So then once you feel comfortable, you can add the caffeine. I don't personally recommend taking more than 100 milligrams of caffeine if your goal is productivity, as research does actually show that taking smaller amounts of caffeine and spacing them throughout the day may help more when it comes to cognition. And if you do take this pre-workout, then you can consider taking 200 to 350 milligrams of caffeine along with 1 to 2 grams of l-tyrosine. I really don't see any need to consume that much l-tyrosine, because that's when it can be associated with withdrawals and with building somewhat of a tolerance to it. Now, outside of anxiety, the only other side effect I'd caution you around would be headaches, especially with l-tyrosine. And I actually noticed when I stopped taking the powder form of l-tyrosine, like I was doing for many years, and started to ingest it in a capsule form, I was less likely to get those headaches, but they are somewhat common. The second stack is related to fighting off stress and helping you better handle stress, and that is a combination of taking rhodiola rosea as well as bacopa monnieri. Now, these are 2 naturally occurring supplements which I feel are some of the most effective herbs. Many of you have probably heard of ashwagandha. People in fact call ashwagandha the king of herbs, but what I don't like about ashwagandha is that it often doesn't hit you as fast as you would like it to, whereas rhodiola rosea, it hits you pretty fast. You ingest it, you feel very clear-minded. I think of it like a nap and a pill, and that when you wake up from a nap, what happens? You feel like you're not mentally fatigued anymore. You feel somewhat refreshed, and that's how it feels. Bacopa monnieri has been tried, tested, and true for centuries. Individuals not only use it to actually tolerate a better level of stress, but also to improve their memory. And there are so many studies backing this, even this study here where they actually use bacopa monnieri on medical students, and the medical students that were ingesting bacopa monnieri had better results with their memory after a 12-week study. Now, I've been using this stack for about 8 years. It's been really good to me. I think rhodiola rosea may be better when it comes to focus after ingestion. However, what bacopa monnieri does uniquely is that it helps to really improve your baseline mood. So I feel like rhodiola rosea is very short-term in the sense of you can ingest it, you feel something, but a few hours later, you kind of feel like it's gone, and then you may need some more again. Whereas bacopa monnieri, it not only hits you fast, but I find that consistent use of bacopa monnieri may not only help you with cognition with respect to memory, but also just waking up in a more blissful mood and feeling like things don't stress me as much as they typically would, and that obviously will make you more productive throughout the day, just naturally seeing the brighter side of things. And the serving size is pretty similar for both of these supplements. You can consider taking 300 milligrams of each of them. If you're somewhat experienced with them, you feel like you can tolerate a bit more, then you can go up to 500 milligrams. I don't recommend increasing it to over 500 milligrams. I don't really find it that effective. If you desire to take more of each supplement, then I would just recommend instead, rather than taking a larger serving size, space it out throughout the day. You can have a 500 milligram serving serving of rhodiola rosea, a 500 milligrams serving of bacopaminary sometime in the early afternoon, and then you can repeat that again closer to bedtime or several hours thereafter. So keeping in mind that this is a stack that will help with fatigue and help with handling stress, I've not really found it too effective to take in the morning. Just like, what's the point? We shouldn't be waking up in a state of feeling fatigued in the first place. We should wake up with some clear-mindedness. But then as we go about the day, what happens? Bombarded with more stressors and things happening and us having to use our cognitive faculties, and what happens? We need to be recharged, and that's where this becomes a very good stack. And I even can consider it for some individuals to be somewhat of an alternative to caffeine. It may not give you like the physical energy, but it definitely helps with the clear-mindedness. And I feel really comfortable with this stack because based on all my research, it only seems like a healthy substance. People often ask me whether or not I'm concerned about using these supplements like long-term and if they've had any sort of negative effect on me. I first actually discovered rhodiola rosea back in 2014. I've been using it almost every day since then, and I've only noticed things get better when it comes to cognitive health. And there's actually some emerging research showing that rhodiola rosea can be beneficial when it comes to anti-aging, but this research is still in its early stages. However, when it comes to handling stress, they found a really interesting study where what was done was individuals used rhodiola rosea prior to exercising, and what they noticed was the individuals were able to lift more, but it wasn't that they were stronger, it's that the perceived effort in doing a specific exercise seemed like less. So imagine having to carry a box up the stairs. The use of rhodiola rosea, according to this study, would help you actually think the box really isn't as heavy as it actually is, which is pretty fascinating to think about because, of course, how it can affect our association and relationship to stress throughout the day. With side effects, I'd be a bit less concerned with this specific stack. You may get slight headaches. You may, of course, not notice them working. Unfortunately, there are some individuals that really don't notice much when they're ingesting rhodiola rosea or bacopaminary. I happen to be one of the lucky ones. I'm very sensitive to supplements, and I definitely notice both of them working for me, probably rhodiola rosea working more so. And the third supplement stack, and it's a very effective stack for myself and many other individuals at increasing levels of testosterone in a natural fashion. There is a lot of talk around natural testosterone boosters, in fact, not working. However, Tonka Ali has a lot of research behind it. I've been pretty happy after discovering this supplement about 3 years ago in terms of not only helping me physically when it comes to lifting more weight, but actually needing less sleep. I feel like I can tolerate a little bit more stress than typically with Tonka Ali and the use of it. And the other supplement is Tribulus terrestris. So Tribulus doesn't have too much research backing its effectiveness. I'm not exactly sure if it increases testosterone all that significantly, but you definitely feel cognitively a little bit sharper, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more courageous. And it can also help if you're in a somewhat sleep deprived state. So how you would use these supplements together is by taking 200 milligrams of Tonka Ali along with 1 gram of Tribulus terrestris. Both these supplements are naturally occurring. They are herbs. I would make the argument that Tonka Ali is a whole lot stronger than Tribulus terrestris, so you should know what you're getting into when you're ingesting Tonka Ali. I've talked about it more in this video over here because if you take it the wrong way, it will set you up for lightheadedness and a lot of nausea. So the right way of taking it is taking it along with the meal. So how you may want to consider ingesting this stack is along with the large meal, having 200 milligrams of Tonka Ali and having 1 gram of Tribulus terrestris. With Tonka Ali, it hits you pretty quickly. You'll notice a boost in libido. You'll notice slightly better sleep and definitely feeling stronger at the gym, wanting to like aggressively go hit the weights. With Tribulus terrestris, I don't feel it's as effective, but I definitely notice that I'm in a better mood when I'm using Tribulus terrestris. And I kind of like the fact that it's not as strong as Tonka Ali because with how strong Tonka Ali is, it makes it more important that you take time off of it. And so Tonka Ali, I would typically take it in a cycle of like 1 month on, followed by 1 month off. Whereas Tribulus terrestris, maybe I'll take it 3-4 months straight, followed by a week off, and then I would repeat it in that fashion. So I'm using Tribulus terrestris probably 90% of the days during the year. Tonka Ali, I'm taking about half the time. And this is a stack where you feel like you're boosting your testosterone just enough for you to get the mental benefits, the cognitive benefits. With Tribulus terrestris, I haven't noticed any side effects, and they're often not reported. Just some individuals may unfortunately not notice it working. And if that is the case, then you can consider switching up the brand. Sometimes that may help. Both of these supplements taste absolutely horrible. They're probably the worst 2 supplements you can go out there and try. So if you do try it, consider the capsule form. You can thank me for that later. And what do you think about these 3 stacks? And is there a 4th one you would consider adding? Let me know in the comment section below. Do subscribe, drop a like if you did find the video informative. If you'd like to chat with me one-on-one, you can consider doing so on Patreon, and be sure to visit our Discord server. We have a 24/7 chat room. We're answering questions in a time-sensitive fashion. I thank you so much for your support and look forward to seeing you next time.